Hey everyone, welcome back to Beekeeping with Natalie, or welcome to if you are new. Today we are getting ready for splitting, so I'm going to show you kind of what that looks like. I think a lot of people might know a little bit of the system just because of Bob Benny's videos. That's kind of where we got all of this from, and I think it's great. I've done a few talks on it before, and it makes splitting so much more fun, because I used to hate splitting, especially because of the weather and just the time of the year. It can be really difficult. But doing it this way has really helped us be able to kind of like get more of a system down and know what's going on, because a lot of times it's just a mess. But what this looks like is every hive is completely different, and I have a few hives that I've decided on just going ahead and requeening and not even splitting, but they'll be ready for the next round of splits that we do. So I'm going to show you what it looks like on a double, but it's basically the same thing with a single. So everybody does hold on. Everybody does it a little differently. But I'm just going to pull out the feeder and then start looking for the queen. If I could get this feeder out. I'm not going to lie. I think this is a third take on this video. Some days are better than others. It's also crazy hot outside in April. Okay, so this is a good food frame that I'll keep in mind. They've got a little funky comb right here, so I might leave this. But that's still a good food frame because we're gonna want a lot of brood and a good bit of food for our splits that we make tomorrow. So it's kind of like a 2-day process. We'll come into, oh, look who it is.
I think Natalie did that. She always blames me, but I'm going to blame this one on her.
I have never had him in a video, and of course the one time he's in a video, he's making fun of me. This is why we don't film together in the same yard. That's the guy that I blame in every single video. Anyways, it smells like bananas over here. This is not a good sign, by the way. Alright, so we've got, this is like a little bit of brood, and then she's got some food up there. So we'll call that a foodie, which is also going to go in there. So it's a half frame of brood, half frame of food, basically. We like to put those in our splits also. I'm hoping to get a good amount of brood up in here. So this is like, when I say a solid frame of brood, I mean it's going to be covered like this whole thing. So this isn't quite a solid frame, but this is still pretty good. Now this part, that's a good, pretty solid. But also, when I say a solid frame, it basically means both sides look that way. So this is probably pretty close. So I'm going to count that as 1. I'm still looking for the queen. That's kind of my main goal right now. But I also am just getting an idea of how much brood is in here. We've got a little cup in here. I don't know what that was from. Also, this is the time of the year that I'm getting an idea if they need to be requeened or not. Because we're not messing around. We need to make sure that we have good, strong queens that have good laying patterns, because we need to make sure that they're going to be able to get us a lot of splits this year, because I want to hopefully double this year, but we'll see what happens. Okay, so this is more brood, which is great, but I still haven't found the queen. You don't have to find her. There's another method that you can do that you don't have to find her. So if I don't end up finding the queen, then I'm just going to end up shaking a ton. So I'll kind of explain that in a little bit. All right, I'm not seeing her. We've got 2 frames left, so maybe, just maybe, she's on there. So like the frame, it wasn't even a frame, it was a feeder that he came over here and showed. Sometimes she'll be up in those like little spots, so like this could be tricky because she can be up under this stuff. So you kind of have to look. They're always building some type of crazy comb. Speaking of crazy comb, there's one on this frame here. There's a ton of burr comb this time of the year too, so it's kind of hard to pull these frames out. So this is solid food. And then there's a little bit of eggs in there, so a lot of the time she won't go past the honey. So I wouldn't normally check, but this is the only time of the year that I'm usually going past the honey to find her. All right, this is like full. This is just a solid frame of honey, so, or food. I'm gonna keep that in mind for that top box, because basically after I go through all of this, the top box is gonna be full of just all splitting things that I'm gonna want. So like brood, food, a little bit of like a foodie broody, and then some like just plain frames that I can also use for splits. And then that bottom box is going to be your parent hive, which is just going to be where the split came off of, and all of the frames that are in the bottom box won't be going towards splits. So I'll show what that looks like here once I have it all figured out. That's a pretty heavy frame, or box, I mean. Make sure I'm not blowing flames at them. So it does take a little while, but it makes the actual splitting day so much easier. And half the time, the days that we're splitting, it's just pouring rain. So we're planning on splitting today and tomorrow, I believe. And I think there's a good chance of rain tomorrow, I'm not sure. So this is gonna make it a lot easier for that. I'm not sure if I have... Okay, I do have a queen clip in case I find her. This feels a little heavy, so it's got some food on it. We have a really good amount of drones coming in too. So we've been grafting quite a bit, or I have. But it's been interesting. I don't know if it's too early for grafting or what, but the takes aren't amazing right now, so I've just been kind of experimenting with that, but hopefully they start to get a little bit better. All right, so this is all food also. So usually the first couple of frames on those outside is going to be food, and then looks like this next frame is going to be brood. Now after I find the first frame of brood, I can usually skip the next like 1 to 2 frames because I know that those are going to be solid brood frames if I already found the queen though. I haven't found her yet, so I'm going to go ahead and check all of them. We're not very good about marking queens. I mark pretty much all the splits that we make, but that's because those ones are being sold and a lot of people want their queens to be marked, but we just never take the time to do it, and a lot of times I have no idea how old they are, so I don't know what color to do. Okay, so far I found 2 frames here of brood, so I'm going to start counting. So that's 2. I'm going to keep 3 frames in the bottom, 3 frames of brood in the bottom box, which is going to go, it's just going to stay here. It's not going to move. It's not going to go towards splits, basically. So this doesn't look very, I mean, it's full of larvae and eggs, but it's not brood, so I'm not going to count this. But I am going to leave that here. Looks like this next frame. Now, if there's one that's kind of half, like you got half brood, and then there's another that's also a little bit of half brood on the frame, I'll count that together as one. That way I can leave that here. Okay, so this is a good frame also. So there's 3 frames of brood. So basically, now that I've found 3 good frames of brood, everything else that I find, the rest of the brood I find, is going to go into the top box, which is going to go towards splits. Now, where did I put my smoker? if you want to leave the parent hive a lot stronger than we are, you can leave 4 frames instead of 3. It just depends. But we're going to be feeding and we're going to build them up still a little bit, so I'm not worried about it. So I'm just going to leave 3 for now. And if later on they need a boost, then I will come back and do that. I was really hoping I'd find the queen, but it's not looking like it. Okay, so this is also brood, but because I already found the 3 frames, I'm going to put this up into the top box, which is going to go for our splits. So I'm going to set this aside. So now it's just kind of reorganizing everything and getting an idea of what you want where. Let's see if I can pull this out. Oh, look at that. We found her. Okay, so that means I don't have to shake, which is going to be nice because they're already not super happy with me. So she's right here. So I'm going to go ahead and clip her. Now, I only have 1 more frame to go through, but I'm still going to clip her. That way I just know where she's at. Because I want to make sure once I'm finished, I want her to be in the bottom box. All right, where did I just set all my stuff? Here we go. Okay. So they had a really good amount of food in here and in the top box. So what I could do is just go ahead and put a queen excluder on and call it good. But I'm gonna switch a couple of frames around here. So I want to add this brood frame. Okay, so this frame here is just solid food. This one, that's also solid food. I can tell by the weight of it. Now this is brood, so I'm going to leave this here. So that's 1 frame of brood. So I'm not counting the brood that's in the bottom box. I'm just going to start by counting the one that's in the top. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then this will be 5. And then this is a foodie. So it's got both of them on there. And then these 2, I believe, are food. And I'm also, no, I'll call that good actually. So what did I say? Did I say 4 frames here? I said 5? Altogether, I said 5? Okay, thanks. Okay, so there's 5 frames of brood in the top box. So those 5 frames of brood are going to go towards splits. We usually do 2 frames of solid brood and then a frame of half brood. And so this will get us like 1.5 splits basically. And then the food is also going to go towards splits, which we usually do 1, maybe kind of 2.5 or 1.5 for our splits also. Now I'm just going to put this back together. I pulled a frame out, so I'm going to put that back in, and then you almost always have your feeder in the top box, but because this top box is going to be pulled off tomorrow, I'm going to put it in the bottom box for now. That way they still have their feeder because they're going to lose that box tomorrow. So then I won't have to switch it tomorrow when we are making the splits. So it just saves us a little bit of time. It's a little bit of a wonky feeder, but it still fits kind of. Maybe, yeah, there we go. All right, and then we're gonna put her back in. What'd you say? I think it's kind of stuck. We're just gonna call that good. Okay, so I'm putting her back in. They always like to take their time. There she is. So I'll wait for her to go down in there. She's just hanging out on top there. I don't want to smush her. She's right here. Take your time. All right. Now that I know she's in the bottom box, we're going to put a queen excluder on, which means she won't be able to get up into this top box. So tomorrow when I come back and make splits, I don't even have to worry about checking the frames for the queen, and I have to worry about getting a queen into one of our splits because I know she's in that bottom box. So now everything in this bottom box is going to stay here, but everything in the top box is going to be pulled out tomorrow for splits. Hopefully that kind of makes sense. This is probably about to be like really heavy. Now, if you didn't find the queen, all of the frames that are going to go into your top box, you can shake into this bottom box. That way you know that you've shaken all the bees on there, and hopefully if the queen was in there, she got shaken down into that bottom box. And then you put the queen excluder on. We've got some friends coming. Do you want to show that? They don't usually come up here. I'm not sure what's going on. But all right, I'm gonna move this top box back on here. What's up, guys? All right. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section and I'll try to answer those. Also, I recommend checking out Bob's video on this because he's got some really good explanations on it too. And hey, they're not usually up here. I'm not sure what's going on. I guess we'll end the video out with these guys.
You want to mark the top box with the...
Oh yeah, we're also gonna mark the top box here. So I said 5 frames of brood, so I'm just gonna put 5 FB. That way I can come back to like afterwards and I can count all the frames of brood and get an idea of how many, well, get an idea of how many splits we can actually make. So anyways, I think that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching today's video. Follow along for more bee adventures and be here next time on Beekeeping with Natalie.